Good morning, friends. Welcome to our channel, Creating Essence. I am Megan. Thank you so much for stopping by today. It's been a hot second since I've done a garden tour. For the last 3 years, I have done a monthly, like first week of every month, garden tour showing you all what's going on, what's growing and changing over the past month on our homestead. And I have not done one, I think since April maybe. There are a lot of reasons for that, but we're doing one today. This is our July 2020 garden tour, homestead update, and let's start with the chickens. If you saw our videos last week, we had to split the flock. These are the 4 ladies who were put in the winter chicken housing, and they are doing really well. This girl was the one that Big Mama had beat up so badly, and she already has good, strong, new feather buds coming in. Everybody's doing well in there. Keeping them supplied with plenty of greens. This is a zucchini plant I had to pull out due to a squash vine borer, but they had a real nice time with it, and they're doing great. I was absolutely shocked that we're actually getting eggs from them. They were beat up so badly by Big Mama in the chicken tractor that I was sure they were too distressed. Honestly, I was afraid that the one wasn't going to make it even. And yet we've been getting from the 4 of them 3 eggs a day. And here's the chicken tractor girls. So far, Big Mama has not taken to beating up anybody else. Everybody's feeling great, doing well. We're getting about 6 eggs a day from the 15 of them, which is not great, but we're trying to figure that out. Come here, Tanner. Come here. Good boy. Our cute little rescue pup Tanner is doing well too. Yes, he is. He's getting to be such a big boy. He's just 4 months old now. He's definitely in that teenage pup stage where he's long and leggy and silly looking. Huh, Tanner boy? Oh, you're a good Tanner boy. Yes, he is. And Koopy is such a tolerant big brother dog. These are doing really great. They're growing like crazy. We did harvest some honey. We ended up taking a few frames from the salt and pepper hive. And we ended up getting about a quart of raw honey per frame, and these are only medium frames, so that is pretty great. We left sugar and spice alone because that was our swarm hive this year, and we just want to let them keep all their reserves to get ready for this first winter before we start harvesting from them. What are you doing? What are you doing, Tanner boy? Onto the garden. This has been a key part of my lack of garden updates this year. We had such an odd spring. I talked about it in a couple of videos back in the beginning of May, but it got weirder after that. Our last frost date is April 15th. I usually have the whole garden in by April 20th. Weather was weird, lots of rain, colder temps. I held off until the first week of May. And then we got frosts, hard frosts, like low 20 degrees several days in a row. And everything that I had out hardening off for transplanting, everything I had already transplanted, died. So I direct sowed more of what I could, and the few seedlings that had survived I put in, but what we have is doing all right now. It's just, if you know my garden tours from past years, this is not what the garden usually looks like. It is green and lush what is there. It's just not what it usually is. And you'll see a lot of empty gaps where things just didn't thrive because we got our typical end of May, early June, super hot temps, blazing sun, and plants, tiny plants, just can't hang with that. So there are a lot of things that just didn't thrive, like that squash that was planted in the middle of May. A lot of things just can't hang with that blazing hot sun. One awesome surprise we've had are these. All over the garden, volunteer zinnia. We've let them continue to grow because they're beautiful and we love them. So let's start over here with the tomatoes. As usual, we companion planted with a few kinds of basil, and they're finally taking off and doing well. Tanner, what are you doing down there, puppy boy? Tanner loves being in the garden. It's very funny to me. And he's actually pretty good about not stepping on plants. We have lots of little green tomatoes coming on inside the different tomato plants. All different sizes. Won't be too long here till we actually have some tomatoes. And some of the tomato plants look like this. This is easily 5 feet tall. And some look like that. Same exact planting, same exact variety. They do have some fruit coming on. Some plants just did not do well when we transplanted. Lots more basil and zinnia. And then we have our squash and zucchini. Some of it's doing awesome, as you can see here. This one's doing pretty well too. This one plant is doing well. The other one that was here already died. We're getting some nice zucchini out of there. Some volunteer calendula. This was zucchini that squash vine borer took out. A little more zucchini here. And a rogue butternut squash, hiding a marigold. Then we have the calendula we did plant, doing pretty well there, with a volunteer tomato coming up in it. So we caged it, because why not? And now Tanner is under the shed. See his tail. Tanner boy, what are you doing? Some of the big, lovely purple Prince zinnia from Baker Creek. My girls love zinnia, and they do such a good job attracting the butterflies and other pollinators. We have one good pickling cucumber vine here, and then we have one good regular cucumber vine. We usually have easily 8 to 10 cucumber vines, but this year we're settling for one of each, and we're starting to get fruit off them now. We have a volunteer purple ruffles basil, which we're really happy about, and a lot of empty space over here. A lot. We filled in a bit of it with some basil and different kinds of peppers because most of my pepper seedlings died. So I went to the nursery and just got some good bell pepper and other staple pepper plants and filled it in with more basil. The one kind of pepper we've started getting some of is shishitos. And this is all that survived in the spring blast of chill. A little bit of dinosaur kale. These cabbages that grew back from the fall garden that we let live. We've got red Russian kale is thriving as usual. And then our Fort Hook chard is doing well. Northern Lights chard, nothing. What are you doing? Are you stuck under there? Come here, Tanner boy. Good boy. Come on. Oh, you got it. Oh, you got it. Good job. The orchard bed on the far side of the garden is also doing really well. Peaches are heavy to the ground. Branches are full, getting nice and big. We're excited for them to ripen. The elderberries are doing great. For the most part, blossoming is done, but we still have some newer ones blossoming and fruits coming on. The Empire apple is still just hanging. No blossoms, no fruit this year, but it is growing, so that's cool. The other elderberry, these things are getting wild. It is crazy to me that they're only 3 years old. The teeny tiny Gala apple tree that actually had blossoms for the first time this year has actually a good amount of nice big fruit coming on. We do have a little bit of Japanese beetle activity, but I'll show you how we fight them. This is how we deal with Japanese beetles. For years we were overrun with them and they did so much damage, but we decided to try this bag-a-bug thing. This is not in any way sponsored, it's just what we use. This is completely pesticide free. It doesn't harm pollinators. It doesn't harm any plants. It doesn't make things not organic. This right here is a very, very strong smelling, like cinnamon smelling, pheromone packet. The Japanese beetles from all over are drawn to it, and then they fall in the bag, and it gets down to here. They can't climb up past here. I actually dump the bags out into the chicken coops for the chickens to eat, and they love it. But some people have said that putting these up actually draws more Japanese beetles to your property. We've not found that to be the case. We used to have so many of our trees and plants basically destroyed by Japanese beetles, and now we get very minor damage. So far, a couple years into it, these work very well for us. The blueberry bed is doing really well, as always. We've got lots of blueberries on these. We still have some late blueberries coming in. We like to grow herbs between each set. There's some thyme, there's some rosemary, some more thyme, and my beautiful gladiolas are in bloom. I love it. I love gladiolas. So pretty. Asher's lilac is putting on lots of new growth this year. We're really excited about that. The sage went to seed and now has more herb coming out. Beautiful new growth. You can start harvesting that and dehydrating it for the winter. The blueberry we planted this spring is doing well. This oregano going to seed. Blueberries. This is another one of those blueberries from Aldi that we planted this spring. It's doing really well. And more herbs and blueberries. And the strawberries. This bed. So overgrown. Our leeks, despite the grass situation, the leeks are doing really well. If you can see through the grass, you can see there are a few really great leeks coming up. These strawberries did well, and we did have them weeded. That's been a battle this year. Unfortunately, these were another loss to the frost. We were just getting our blossoms, and fruit was coming on in the beginning of May when we got hit by those frosts. And we ended up getting about 5 strawberries because the frost killed them. All of them. Every single one. So no strawberry jam this year. The carrots are doing well. The fence trick we decided to try is doing a great job keeping the cats from digging, but allowing the carrots to grow up. We've harvested most of them, and soon we'll be prepping this bed for fall planting to let it sit until it's time to plant that. And the same with the beets. Still some growing. A little grassy spot here while we treat some ants. But we've harvested most of them, and then we'll be prepping it soon for fall planting. This bed was the peas. The kids cleaned it out, and then we filled it with leaf compost from the chicken house. And it's just kind of sitting and waiting for fall to come. Aside from this little pepper plant growing up here. Yeah, so we're letting that live. Same story over here. These were those Wando peas that never grew a single thing. So we pulled them out early and put in peppers, and these are the peppers that survived that frost. So we filled in the bed with fresh compost around them. We're letting them grow, hoping we see some fruit. And the beans, y'all, the beans. These are the brand new beds we just put in this year. And we planted this one with 3 kinds of beans and some calendula. The other side, 3 kinds of beans and cotton. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I have tried all the things. Everything sprouted really quickly and then just stayed that size. It has yellowed, leaves have fallen off, new green ones have come in, as you can see here. I've treated regularly with nitrogen, with every single thing I could think of, and the only thing that we have even moderately growing are some of the pole beans. So they're looking really cute on the cattle panel trellis. They really are, but they're still not what they should be, even though they are growing. So I don't know. We did have to get a different kind of store-bought compost, like super soil, than we usually get for our raised beds. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, because other than that change in soil, we've done everything in these 2 beds that we've done in the other 8, and all 8 have always thrived the first year. So I don't know. I just don't know. The raspberry bed at the front of the house is doing really well. That peppermint is going dynamite. We've used so much in water and lemonade and tea. But we've been getting some really nice fruit off these raspberries. Looks like it's about time to send the kids out to pick again. We finally figured out what these plants are. So these berries are a lot like raspberries. They kind of taste like a seedless raspberry with a milder flavor. And Bee Island is finally growing. Some wild bergamot that's been blooming really nicely here. We also put in some citronella, some lemongrass, and aloe. There's a lavender over there you can't quite see. In here we transplanted a few things like lemon bulb and echinacea, and unfortunately that frost just took most of it out. We have 1 echinacea still trying to live right there. My gladiolus here are doing great. My lilies are getting ready to bloom. Look at that. It's opening up any day now. And that's it. That is a pretty lengthy and detailed homestead update for July. I've had a lot of comments on Instagram like, hey, we missed seeing your garden this year. It's really been super frustrating because I don't think anyone's immune to the fact that the food system is crashing and burning right now. I've always known it was a pretty tenuous situation, but this pandemic business has shown it cannot be relied on. So I have had a lot of mental pressure on myself to be significantly less reliant on stores and be exponentially more diligent to preserve and use every single bit that comes from our gardens. What's actually growing mostly looks great. It's not what it always has been in the past. So I've been kind of down on myself because You know, I need it to do amazing, and I need to preserve every single thing I can get from there that we don't eat fresh. And it's not doing well. So it's been frustrating. I just have to step back, take a deep breath, and take this year for what it is. So I would love to hear what your gardens have been like this year. If there have been hurdles to overcome this year for gardening for you, tell me about it. But thank you all for hanging out with us today. As always, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to hang out for more. We'll see you again soon.